Hello, everybody. We are live streaming. What's a live stream? Haven't done this in forever. But
A
yeah,
long time.
exactly. So you can thank Andrew for suggesting us to do a live stream. But yeah, we're joined by Andrew and Joel today.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, and we don't really have anything planned. We're just gonna hang out, talk roller coasters. Andrew's been on quite a few different theme park trips recently, so we'll talk to him about that. We'll answer your questions and chill on this fine Saturday evening for us in the UK. There you go. That was it. That's the
And
intro spiel.
2:30 p.m. on the East Coast.
There you go. 24-hour live stream? Definitely not.
No,
Not
not
today.
today. I can't trust that.
No,
No
we
way.
are. We're just chilling today. Someone asked what happened to Coastal Lounge. Time happened to Coastal Lounge. As in, we don't have enough of it. So
Yeah.
we used to
We
live
got
stream.
jobs, got busy.
Exactly. I think what we used to live stream every 2 weeks. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It used to
I
be
don't
much more
recall.
Yeah. So, I mean, we should really do some more live streams again. I was looking at I think the last normal one was 5 years, which was July of 2020. I think that's the last time we did a normal live stream.
Yeah.
So
Did we do
Yeah.
anything on that stream? I can't remember now.
I cannot
Just,
remember either.
It was just a
I-
sit down chat stream.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those. We need to stream. It's been 3 months
Yeah.
since we did anything.
That's how it goes.
One of those things.
Yep. But no, we're here. We're raring to go. It's been ages since the last one, so we've got a lot to catch up on, eh? What to catch up on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's really happened over the past year because nothing's really happened.
No,
No.
I've not been up so much, honestly. It's just nothing. There's nowhere to go. Nothing to do.
Yes, but
Yeah.
at least in the UK that changes soon. I mean, UK parks are poised to open on the 12th of April, which is 9 days time.
Yeah,
So,
it's soon actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Week on Monday, which is pretty good. Which is so excited to finally get back to some parks. I mean, I only went to two. Well, post COVID, I've only been to 2 theme parks so far. I don't know how well you guys have done. At least last year.
Last year, I went to Pleasure Beach a few times. I think I went to Towers twice, Pleasure Beach like 3 or 4 times.
Hmm.
And I went to Fantasy Island as well. I think that was about it. Yeah. Yeah, basically nothing else. I don't think I'm even going to go back in April when they reopen because the reopening of parks is happening right around the time all of my uni assignments are due.
Right.
So over the entirety of like the end of April and May, I'm just going to be doing writing, going to be writing essays. So I'm just probably going to wait until I finish those to go anywhere.
Hmm. That's fair. What about you, Andrew?
Mhm.
How many parks did you get to last year?
So I have the 3 nearby me. So Dorney Park, Six Flags Great Adventure, and Hershey Park. I went to those somewhat frequently because, frankly, I work at amusement parks, so
Mhm.
going to them is the same risk, more or less.
Yeah.
And I did an impulse trip to Kings Island for Orion, and that's it.
There you
How
go.
was it?
Orion,
Mm.
it is fantastic. Everyone who hates it is wrong, and it's the best ride there.
Everyone who hates it is wrong. There you go. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's wrong.
It doesn't look like the kind of ride you can hate, really. You can be disappointed that it wasn't anything to beat Fury. Like that when I first found out about Kings Island building that, my only hope was like, wow, okay, will someone finally take the height record of Fury for gigas? But they didn't. They just built a shorter one. They built the shortest one, which
Yeah.
whatever.
They didn't need to break the record. It does the job
No,
just
it
as
still
well
looks
as any
it
other
still looks
Giga.
good. It still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Better
Better than the one up north, I'll say that much.
than Leviathan.
Well, yeah, but Millennium Force 2.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's that difficult. As you said, Joel, like, why would you even dislike a ride like that? You know,
Yeah.
your park's still got a
Just
giga coaster.
Mhm.
It's just to be edgy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone
So-
said Orion is a hyper you concrete. I've never heard that insult towards me, so thank you for bringing that to me.
Wait, what was that?
Uh,
Oh, right. You can't. Interesting. I mean, that's a
the
good
people
point.
spamming acknowledge the chat in the chat.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you, chat. Very
We're
cool.
gonna get to that.
Yeah, because
Um,
when we run out of things to talk about, the chat is exactly where we're going to turn to. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really. As much as I can like see the whole, oh, Orion is really not a giga coaster. It's like the whole definition is so superficial anyway. Who cares? You know,
Yeah.
what's the difference? What's the difference does it make? The fact that it's like 10 feet taller? None.
It's still got like the entire layout, like design and philosophy of the other gigas, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't
And-
have the multiple camelbacks that you get on any other B&M Hyper,
Exactly.
and it still has a drop
Mhm.
below. He has a drop that's longer than 300 feet, so I mean, it might
I
as
think
well
it's
just be.
exactly 300 feet.
It might as
like
well
on
just
the
be one
dot.
of the gigas, you know. I don't see the
Wasn't-
point in saying it's not one.
What was B&M's first hypercoaster? Was it Apollo's Chariot?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that wasn't
Yeah,
a hyper, technically.
No.
There you go,
no,
guys.
It's got to be on 200-foot drop.
Exactly.
And the first hyper isn't Magnum. It doesn't have. It only has a 200-foot drop. It's not 200 feet in height.
No, it is.
I thought-
205.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
The
yeah.
drop's 194.
Oh,
Something like that.
okay. So it's the other way around.
Mm.
I knew there was something about Magnum like that. I couldn't remember what it was.
Magnum's funny that they tried to build a coaster, like I think what was it, 203 feet or was it 201? Do you remember, Andrew?
I
can't
think it
remember.
was I think it was 200 on the dock because it was originally 187,
Yes.
and then someone on the Cedar Point board was like, "What if we just did
Bumped it.
200?"
Mm.
And they built that, but they didn't account for the footer height, so that's what made
Yeah.
it 205.
Mm. It's pretty funny. Magnum
I
was the
still wanna
first
ride it.
hyper. Yeah, yeah. I meant B&M hyper, not like,
Not overall.
not
hyper.
overall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
I mean, even then, technically speaking, there was a 200-foot coaster before Magnum,
Mm. Yeah, actually, because
but no one wants to hear that discussion.
no. If your definition of hypercoaster means that as long as you have a 200-foot drop, then it's a hypercoaster. Did Bandit have a 200-foot drop? Was it just like 250 something elevation
Bandit?
change?
Was an elevation change. I was more
Right.
referring to a moonsault
Yeah.
at Fuji Q. But
Yeah, I mean, no one likes to.
I'm not getting into that discussion on here. If you want to argue with us, join the Coaster Bot Discord and at me and ask for a fight, because I'll fight back. Don't worry.
What's
Oh,
your
yeah.
stance?
In
Do
terms
they
of
count?
actual height, yes. But in terms of experience, no.
Right. Okay.
So the answer is both.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan was good, Mystic Timber is good, and that's it for Kings Island.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I wish I could say I went somewhere. I've got nothing to report unless. I mean, I guess I've been to Fantasy Island since the last stream, and I've been to Pleasure Beach a few times, which was a long time ago. But
Was that your first
Fantasy
time at
Island's,
Fantasy Island?
it's my fourth time.
Oh, I was
think,
gonna
or
say,
fifth time.
yeah, yeah.
I've been there quite a few times now.
Why?
Well, I used to go to the Butlins a lot as a
Right,
kid. So
yeah.
Fantasy Island, we always drove past it and just saw Odyssey. Back when it was red, it was just this big red coaster. It was just towered above everything, and it was the scariest thing in the world to me as a kid. And then one year, I finally got to go and ride it, and I thought it was good, but because I was really young and didn't really understand the concept of the coaster being bad. And then I went back at the end of 2018 and was like, oh, that's actually kind of rough. It's still quite fun though.
Mm.
And then I went back in 2019 and was like, oh, that can be really rough. And then I went back again last year and decided it's like one of the worst coasters I've ever done.
It's hit or miss for sure.
It
Does it
has
not track
some.
well?
Yeah, I don't know. It has some rows where it's okay, and some rows where it's pretty shaky. But like, it's kind of like an SLC, like kind of just smooth, but not smooth, but like a bit rattly, and then it'll hit an element, like a turn or an inversion or something, and it just slams. And yeah, the Sidewinder especially has such a huge jolt in it. It really hurts. Yeah, it's not very good.
I mean, I like the fact that it's a unique layout and everything. You know,
Yeah, it's a cool thing to have in the UK. I'll give
Definitely.
it that.
and the fact that like the first drop is ginormous as well.
The first drop's good. That's
So-
something I'll give it. And it's a bit of a spectacle as well. Like,
For sure.
it's only like 160 feet, but because the area it's in is so flat,
Yeah.
you can just see it. You can see it from miles away. It's nothing like driving up to like Towers or Thorpe where you can't really see them until you're fairly close.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see Odyssey from when you're like barely into Skegness. It's miles.
And speaking of hypers, to think that was going to be a hyper in height.
Yeah, the
initially.
original plan, 250 feet it was going to be.
That's insane to think that was
Could you
even
imagine?
going to be considered.
I wish.
Wasn't it like trimmed though,
I
like
wish.
right after the first loop or something, so that it didn't have to build the whole thing the same
Yeah.
scale?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a
Oh,
big
was
drop
it?
and then trims to slow the whole thing down.
It was like a
Okay,
straight.
that might have been
break
that
run.
might have been quite bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a big drop though. That would have been cool. And then you would have
Yeah.
just got like a very similar size layout to what we've got now, I guess.
It would have been the tallest UK coaster. That would have been tragic.
Yeah, and pretty tall on the world scale as well, I guess.
Yeah. It'll be up there.
Back in like when did Odyssey open? I have Odyssey
2003?
Diva.
I got no idea.
Look, Odyssey, Fantasy Island, 2002. So, I mean, the tallest coaster back then was Millennium Force still.
Steel
wasn't it?
Dragon.
Steel
Or was it
Dragon.
Steel Dragon 2000, yeah, that was it.
So it wouldn't have been far off
So-
though. There wouldn't have been many
No.
other hypercoasters at that point. There would have been a few, but
It would have been fifth full circuit because you had Titan and Goliath at Six Flags Parks and Millennium and Dragon. So it might have been fifth if we exclude the shuttles. But
Yeah, there was no. Would it have been tallest in Europe at the time? Probably would have. Because
Yes.
there was no Shambhala,
what was tallest
Well,
in Europe
Hyperion.
before Shambhala?
the big one, wasn't it? Was it?
Silver Star wasn't
Oh,
it?
Silver
Silver
Star,
Star, and
yeah.
but that was 2003. So yeah, Silver Star's early 2000, maybe 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2002. So they would have opened at the same time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Damn. There you go. Anyway, the TLDR of the history of the world's tallest roller coaster is that America thinks that they built the world's tallest roller coaster every time, and it's just not true. So that's
Well,
good.
until they did.
Until they did. Yeah, until they did. But I mean, the whole like stuff about Loch Ness Monster being the world's tallest, just garbage.
No,
Just
it's not
garbage.
true.
Awful. So, there you go.
Ah,
Don't believe it. Don't believe anything an American park says. Just don't. It's just not true.
okay. Says the guy whose home park originally had Wickerman's the first wooden coaster with fire elements.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. And the fact that Pleasure Beach said the big one's 235 feet high.
Oh
It
yeah.
was 85 miles per hour, something like that.
Yeah, something that's
It's all just
literally
marketing.
impossible speed to reach. Sure, yeah, why not? It's fine. Just gets a boost. The wind gives it a boost, so that's fine.
Well, no, the prevailing wind in Blackpool
Yeah,
works against the
exactly.
big one.
Whoever designed
So-
that, terrible.
They built it against the prevailing wind just so it could look better from the road, which is
Mhm.
funny. They kind of shot themselves in the foot
Definitely. Definitely.
Ah,
Feather says, "Why is every British YouTuber named Harry?" I don't think
That's
I
a
know
good
like
question.
one YouTuber named Harry.
there. I could name
Go on.
maybe. I think I Hate Everything's real name is Harry.
No idea who that is.
There's H Bomber guy's name is Harris.
No idea who that is.
This guy called Harry's Moving Castle.
Right.
He's British. He does videos about Doctor Who. There's probably others. I can't name all off the top of my head, but there are a few.
Mhm.
It's a fair question.
There you go. Yeah, no, keep your questions in the chat coming. Andrew, quickly, someone says, what's your thoughts on Steel Vengeance?
It's fantastic. It's amazing, and I love it.
There you go. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's be my type of coaster, though. You know.
I mean, you liked Wildfire, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it. This is it, right?
That's
It's really
it, though.
good, but Wildfire isn't my type of coaster. But it's really good, which is why it's up there, but not quite at the top. You know. So.
I think I would prefer Zadra to Steel Vengeance based on what I know I like. But I'm sure I would enjoy Steel Vengeance a lot.
I think it's impossible to enjoy Steel Vengeance a lot. Not to enjoy Steel Vengeance a lot.
I was going to say.
That's what I meant. Again, it's like, you know, some coasters just are just objectively good, right? As much as some people would be like, oh, it's overrated. I do feel like there are just some coasters out there that are far from bad. But you
like most B&Ms.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't really get any bad rides on it.
Here there was most guys in the chat, so don't go off your rocker saying I liked every B&M, because that's not true.
Vortex.
Vortex is not a problem. It's Green Lantern's a problem, and Firebird.
Firebird.
See, Firebird was still Apocalypse when I was at SFA, but I didn't ride it because I had a headache.
You're not missing
But
much.
I don't know. I thought Green Lantern was fine, and I thought Vortex was trash. I mean, both of them were like tolerable, but Vortex was like kind of like not good. Like it wasn't horrible to ride, but it's just like this is like a bad B&M.
I
It could
really
just
want
be
to try
because-
a B&M stand-up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I really want to go.
They
on
don't feel much different from Shockwave, honestly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Shockwave is just kind of has weird profiling, but
Yeah, it's just a
they
weird ride
basically
generally.
feel exactly the same. Yeah,
Fair enough.
they're both as smooth as each other.
Yeah, but I guess because Lantern's in my backyard, basically, that I've ridden it enough to never ride it again.
Yeah,
Whereas Vortex, I rode it once, maybe twice, and I was like, I didn't have enough time to really process how bad it is or how
Yeah.
good it is. It's
when
kind
you
of
go
like, it
to a
was fine.
park, yeah, when you go to a park like that many times, you sort of start to care less about some of the sort of filler rides there.
Definitely.
It's probably why so many people in the UK hate Rita.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you know, people have just been to towers so many times that Rita just, they're not bothered about it anymore.
Definitely.
They don't feel any attachment to it because they've had all their chances to ride it, and it's like, yeah, whatever. I could just be doing the better rides.
As soon as it goes, though, you know that there's going to be people out there who are like, oh, you know, it's sad to see it go.
There is when everything closes.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Even bad rides get that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
someone wants to know what we would like to see next at Thorpe. Always a question. I'll start things off by saying a B&M hypercoaster. Won't ever happen, but I'd love to see it. It would be good.
Okay, I have a thought pipe dream.
Oh yeah.
An Intamin LSM like Steel Dolphin that
Okay.
basically like tours around the whole park like Millennium does.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
How Steel Dolphin doesn't look to be like one of the most. It doesn't look as intense as some of the other Intamin like multi-launch coasters. Is that what you're going for?
No.
Or would you want a more
Yeah,
intense
like a
one?
cheetah hunt type thing. I mean,
Okay.
you could put some big elements
Yeah,
on it.
but not like really intense. Not Maverick style. You're more on that like
Honestly, at this point,
anything.
any new ride, like, yeah,
Well,
cool.
I wouldn't even call like Terran intense, to be honest. So I would say like Terran is probably that kind of level, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think Thorpe's quite an interesting place. So if you went around the whole park, I don't know how you'd get through some of the
Yeah.
areas though. Like
I mean, yeah, Thorpe's
Inferno.
interesting because of how little space they have.
Yeah,
You've got to really think, like, what can actually fit here?
nothing.
Well, like, that's why my opinion on Thorpe is a bit of a hot take, I guess you could say, and I've gotten a lot of heat of it from about the script plenty of times. I think they should just focus on filling this space of the park that they have, just kind of rotting away.
Mhm.
It's specifically Slammer's plot. I don't know why they have Slammer, I'm told it's there for ladder training or restraint training for rush, but you can do that elsewhere about keeping a whole ride rotting away. And for a ride that fits there, I think a free spin is the best bet.
A free spin.
I know people don't like that because they're low capacity and bad, but it's going to be it'll be the first 40 coaster in the UK, and people will love it. People will eat that thing up.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
So,
I'm sure people at Thought would, especially. You know, it's surely it's pretty marketable, right? Like to be flipping upside down.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd ride it. I skipped Joker at Great Adventure because I just sort of watched it off ride and was like, I just don't fancy that. I think it would make me horribly sick, so I didn't ride it.
I'm not a fan of the Zack spins. Those are the only ones I've done, but the two that I've done, I'm not a fan of. They're just it's like extreme forces. It's either boring or I'm going to push your heart out of your chest kind of feel as you go over the like crest. I'm not about that. You know, I want something that's a bit more balanced rather than being death, boring. I don't know if the S&S ones are more like that, as in like more balanced.
The S&S ones seem to flip a lot more than the Zack spins do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
I
I'm
rode
wrong,
Joker the other day. Now I got one flip on it.
One.
That's it. Yeah.
It's kind of weird how you would have thought that you'd get like multiple every time, saying the fact that they've got the fins on the track to cause the trains to flip.
They really go for it as well. Some of them, like when the flip. I think is it Arashi, the one that sits next to Steel Dragon 2000?
Oh, yeah.
That thing is like meant to be pretty mental with the amount of flips it does.
I'd love to go on one. Yeah, I think it just looks better designed than the Zack spins does, because you know you're spinning around your center rather than. On the Zack spins, that's the problem. You don't just kind of, as you spin, you get flung forwards because the spinning is behind you. So like you whip over and you're just thrown into the front, into your restraint. Whereas
that
I imagine
sound fun.
it's not. Whereas on the other one, the S&S forward free spins or whatever, I imagine it's a bit more kind of like you're spinning around your seat rather than spinning into your seat.
I mean, it's more of a somersault, I guess, if you have to describe a motion that you're experiencing.
Which sounds a lot nicer to experience than I'm going to shove you into the seat now,
Yeah, no.
And a lot of those like unconventional movements on rides is just like, I don't know, like stuff you're not used to. Like, I was a bit nervous going on Superman at Great Adventure because I'd never done a pretzel loop before and I had no idea what it was going to feel like. It was weird. It didn't feel particularly intense.
Didn't it?
It was just,
I mean,
No,
Superman
I don't
too,
know.
so...
Yeah, I think Galactica's better.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
I've heard that quite a few
I don't
times.
know, like people go, oh, Galactica's... People will say, like, oh, Galactica's not even that good. It doesn't even have a Cobra roll, but...
A Cobra roll?
Not Cobra.
That'd be
Cobra,
sick.
pretzel loop.
Can you
Pretzel
imagine?
loop. Flying. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
People argue that Galactica's bad because it doesn't have a pretzel loop. But literally the on your back section on Galactica I find more intense than the pretzel loop on Superman.
Really?
Yeah.
It is quite intense, to be honest. Like, it's a cool section. I'm kind of like surprised that other B&M flyers don't really have those long on your back sections. Maybe because they have like pretzel loops that they think, we're going to condense the intensity into this section rather than spreading it out over like one pretzel loop and another on your back section. I don't know.
That's what I've heard about Tatsu. It's just like it's like a nice, pleasant flying coaster experience until the pretzel loop where it's just complete death.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like nice ride again.
It's Dinosaur is
strange.
Probably the most on your back. Maybe Skyripper's more on your back.
Those two look like they have a bit more consistent like craziness.
I agree.
Yeah.
Compared to the other flying coasters.
Definitely.
Which is why I think one of those two is probably the best one.
I've heard good things about Flying Dinosaur. Just
The
quickly to
theming
answer a
was great on
question.
it too.
Downtown Coolsville says, Coasterbot, did you stop the Theme Park Chains Explained series? No. We're working on a new Theme Park Chains Explained. I might as well just tell you what it is. It's Cedar Fair. We're going to explain Cedar Fair for you. And that will come out, I don't know, like in 3 weeks' time or something. So it's definitely not dead. And we're going to do more of them for sure. So
Yeah.
stay
They
tuned.
take a lot of time to get ready. That's the big problem with them.
Yeah, they're big. Obviously, there's lots of research about a company. You're not just talking one roller coaster or one theme park. You're talking about a chain that owns, you know, in the case of Cedar Fair, tens of theme parks. Ish, I don't know. I can't remember. So, yeah, there are a lot of work to do, and thanks to Andrew, they can be made a reality.
Way to flatter me. All right.
What about chains explained? I don't know what in the chat. Would be interested to hear what chains you'd like to see explained next. We've done all the main ones now. You know, like I'm gonna try and remember this in order. For Coma,
You mean manufacturers?
sorry, I meant manufacturers. Yeah. What kind of theme park? Jesus. What roller coaster manufacturers would you like to see covered in the future? We've done Vekoma, Gerstlauer, B&M. I'm trying to do the order here. Mac, GCI, Intamin, RMC, Gravity Group. 8.
Yeah.
That's it.
So there's
Yeah.
more. You know, we could do S&S, as Cha-Cha Charlie H just said. Swashcraft Deflector would be an interesting one for sure. There's some of the more kind of smaller ones like Zero, San Morris,
Premier.
Pinfari, Premier. Yeah, exactly. I kind
Premier and
Go on.
S&S seem like the two sort of logical ones to go to next, I think, because they still make rides that you can, you know, ride quite commonly.
I'm kind of leaning
S&S
towards
especially.
S&S. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the fact that they make towers and stuff. So it'd be quite an interesting one to dive into when the whole thing isn't just coasters. Sam says British Rail. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a short video, won't it? The ultimate. Done.
That'll just be what is ultimate. That's
Yeah.
it.
Can't make that anymore.
Finally.
It's what was the ultimate. So
That's
sad.
right.
So sad.
Tragic. Tragic. Well, they still haven't confirmed that it's permanently gone.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with someone the other day. They've still got on their website. They've got they say like something that when you go on the Ultimates page on the website, it'll say something. Oh, the Ultimate is temporarily closed this season for various. It doesn't really say why, but it just says it's closed. And then underneath it, there's a description that says the Ultimate is Lightwater Valley's signature ride, and describes what it's like. It's like you feel like they would have removed that description if they were planning on permanently closing it.
Yeah.
I feel like it may be down for some time, but I don't know if they are going to want to just kill it completely.
But Peter Person just says, wait, the Ultimate's closing? It's not closing. It's being closed it was closed for the 2020 season, and Lightwater Valley said it won't open this year either. So, you know, when one of the parks, and the whole park is going into a more of a family-orientated setting with a lot of the thrill rides being taken out and replaced with like kiddie rides essentially. So yeah, it doesn't bode well is what we're basically saying, that it could go either way, and I will be
but they've already
so sad.
removed they've literally said Raptor Attack is gone, and that is tragic because Raptor Attack was really good.
That is sad.
For that park, Raptor Attack was really well themed. It was really surprising.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It's kind of a shame.
They're going to probably go more family oriented, as if they're going like the rather Drayton or I want to say Paulins, but it's not the right answer. Whatever.
Paulins already was family orientated. I mean, every
whatever.
park. I mean, I think over the past, I don't know how many years, it's become clear that if you don't have some sort of family offering, you just generally can't do as well. You know, a lot of the bigger parks just now at least have that dedicated, here's your, especially like young children area. You think of all the Camp Snoopies And then in the UK, we've got quite a few, like Peppa Pig Land, Thomas Land, CBeebies Land. I think that is something that is almost becoming like crucial for a park to end up being successful, is to try and get as many people from across the board there, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, but you see something like, I guess the big one's Drayton Manor, where they have Shockwave and Apocalypse for now, maybe. That's up in the air. But it seems like they're trying to take the more, going from having thrill rides to having more family rides. You don't see many, at least from an outsider perspective, you don't see many thrill rides being added to UK parks compared to, say, other countries such as the United States, Germany, even Japan too. It's more big rides, if that makes sense. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I guess. Trying to think. Yeah, Germany has been getting a lot of rides, but trying to think of the parks that they've really been going to. Like even Heidi Park, anything owned by Merlin seems to be becoming a bit more family orientated, because that's what they've deemed to be more successful.
Profitable.
Yeah, even Heidi Park has got a Peppa Pig land now, and so has Gardaland. And then obviously Europa Park has always been that kind of family orientated anyway. I guess Phantasialand. I don't even know if there's like kids rides at Phantasialand.
They've got a carousel.
You've got the stuff in
dark
like
rides.
Woo's Town. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the UK's always had a good collection of thrill rides, to the point where parks didn't necessarily need more. Does that make sense? Whereas other parks, especially the ones in Germany, didn't have as strong collections of thrill rides to begin with anyway. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
It's hard for me to follow personally, because I don't know the UK experience firsthand.
Yeah. I think it depends on what park you look at. You know, obviously Europa Park have added quite a lot of their thrill rides, all of them since after the 2000s.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Phantasialand, obviously theirs are all post, the ones that are operating are post 2000, 2005 onwards, right? So, whereas if you look at what Alton Towers had in 2005, it's quite a lot in comparison. And even Drayton Manor, all of Drayton Manor's big rides were existed by that point.
Honestly, I was thinking that like the UK thrill coaster scene was like almost better like 10 years ago. Because there were so many, like, I mean, we had all the Schwarzkopfs at
It was, definitely.
at Flamingo Land, American Adventure, and what's the other one? Camelot. They both existed and had a load of thrill coasters. Southport Pleasureland used to have loads of big rides.
This is it. Yeah.
Like,
our boom of thrill rides happened way earlier. You know, whereas I feel like a lot of parks in Europe, it's been a lot more later to really start building these bigger, more interesting rides. Don't know. Don't know what's been going on over in America though. I don't know if there's a similar trend or whether it's always just been, boom, here's a big coaster.
I mean, I'm sure it's more of a mix because we have more parks.
Yeah.
So you have, like, I guess the way America looks at it is after a park builds a big coaster, say, think of a park, Kings Dominion. Let's go with that one because that was a situation where they built at 305 in 2010, and for reasons they didn't get anything substantial until 2017. And by substantial, I mean some kind of like big investment announcement. There probably was something between then, but I cannot think of it. But I remember when, and you guys remember this, when the year before Twisted Timbers was announced, that whole really more coming thing. Does that ring a bell to either of you?
I don't remember that.
For
I
what
was
zone,
barely I
sorry?
was barely following Kings Dominion back then.
So
Before
there was a
Mystic
thing
Timbers?
where so it was one of those things
Right.
where it had a big announcement on Roller Coaster Day,
Oh yeah.
and they
I remember
announced
the
a
teasers
Planet
now,
Snoopy expansion. So the way that worked was instead of adding like one kiddie ride, they add like 3 to 5, typically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and that's considered like a kiddie year. So like you typically some enthusiasts will look at it like, okay, do you have a coaster year or a big thrill ride year, water park year, off year, kiddie year, something like that. Just kind of balance out the parks,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's never anything like you rarely have it where it's coaster, 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 then nothing. That's not that common.
Mhm.
But like Kings Dominion, just going off of that, they built I want to say 3 to 5 kiddie rides for they expanded their Camp Snoopy. And yeah, Sam, it is a great kids area, just going off of your comment. But then after that, they brought in Twisted Timbers, which juxtaposed the audience of Planet Snoopy to Thrill Seekers. And after was Delirium after that, or was Delirium? No, Delirium was 2016. So, okay, so it was Thrill Ride, Kiddie Rides, Coaster.
Mm.
That's how that worked.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just went on a tangent that was probably unintelligible to anyone.
No, but I think that is what most parks do, right? They obviously try and have a wide audience, so and therefore have a wide variety of different age-based attractions, and obviously
Diversify their
exactly.
what they
And
buy. Yeah.
some years you build kiddie rides, and other years you build middle ground rides, and other years you build bigger coasters. I mean, to big up Alton Towers again, like something like 13 family coaster, then Smiler thrill coaster, then Wicker Man family coaster, arguably again, you know. So it's that kind of trying to make sure it's well balanced in terms of what the offering is for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw an interesting question in chat.
Go for it. I'm just
I
gonna
keep
turn
seeing,
it
and
out.
okay. So Crystalic has asked, what do you guys think is objectively the best coaster in the world,
We say
whether you've ridden it or not?
what is
Crystalic,
objectively?
what is objectively the best coaster in the world, whether you've ridden it or not? So this is an interesting question because I feel like the only way to say what is objectively the best, like how do you measure how good a coaster is? Like the only thing you can really do to measure it is how many people have it as their favorite. So like if you say it like that, it's Steel Vengeance, because
That's for enthusiasts.
most people, but like when you look at all the polls, most people say Steel Vengeance. So to me, Steel Vengeance is the best coaster in the world objectively, because the most people agree. Most people could, like the general consensus amongst people who are into roller coasters is that their favourite is Steel Vengeance. So that's my answer to that.
I think it's fair.
If you want to say anything else.
I was thinking more probably some B&M Hyper, frankly speaking. Those seem to be the best crowd pleasers, and everyone loves them.
That's just a general model, though, rather than...
Yeah, I was thinking more general, not very
specific ride.
specific.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting question, but a question that I don't think, at least I can answer confidently.
I haven't ridden Steel Vengeance either, don't worry.
I think it's
Yeah.
what you're looking for is a ride that's like objectively the best designed roller coaster there is, right?
Yeah. But
Designed
how
in
do
what way?
And this is it. Like, in my eyes, objectively the best roller coaster will have everything. Not just, it has the roller coaster part, but it also has the let's take it up a notch with some interesting theming part,
Yeah.
Which,
That
again,
doesn't exist, that's the thing.
exactly, and that doesn't exist. There isn't a ride that has the world's best roller coaster and the world's best theming combined. I don't know what it would be, something perhaps at Disney Universal or maybe Fantasyland to argue a point. But
Tiger says potentially.
Tiger is, yeah, but again, I don't think that's particularly like I feel like Tiger is an objectively very well designed roller coaster. You know, like it's got everything, and it's smartly designed and interesting in terms of the terrain. But then on the point of theming and immersion, it doesn't have all that much. It's got some bits, but you know, it isn't Hagrid Bike, for example.
Oh boy, don't say that right now.
And-
Say that right now.
Yeah, but this is it, right? Everyone has different things. I think a lot of people's opinions of the world's best roller coaster wouldn't even involve any storyline or theming or anything to do with, you know, outside of the actual, I'm going to get on this roller coaster. So even, you know, the queue line or the station or whatever, they don't care about. It's just the ride experience. Whereas my opinion would be much more what everything involved with this ride has to be the best. And I don't think it's a clear winner for that. It's always this roller coaster is better in terms of the roller coaster, but this one's better in terms of the theming, and this one's better in terms of, I don't know, how much of the potential of the design was realised.
That's the thing, like that perfect roller coaster doesn't really exist. Like, if you want a roller coaster that has like everything you like in a coaster all rolled into one layout, and that's quite a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Ex-coaster enthusiast, said, what if Cedar Point started to add Fantasyland level theming? That'd be great.
I mean, Magnum won't be good regardless, but
wait, what did you
it'll
say?
be better. Magnum won't be good regardless of the
That's true.
theming.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point. Nothing could save that one.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, if they did that, then it'd be great. Like, I think it's impossible to argue that theming is not good, right? Like, name a roller coaster that theming hasn't enhanced.
Give me a minute with this one.
And that's what I mean. That
Working on
theming, if you're talking about objectively the world's best roller coaster, because of what I just said, surely theming has to be taken into account. Uh-oh. Go on.
Walking Dead.
No, like...
Everyone hated that when it happened.
The problem is, it wasn't very good originally, but no one likes to say that. That's the problem. Everyone likes to say it was really good, because everyone's like, oh, I went on this ride when I was a kid, and it was a disco.
Yeah.
And I love discos, you know. That's the
more
problem.
The whole, the problem of turning you know, one of the park's only family rides into a thrill ride. It's like, and it's just like, it's such a mismatch, like a really like kind of dark horror theme on a pretty tame coaster. That's the kind of issue, really.
Amy says Icon, but Icon isn't themed. It's stylized, man. Get with the program. Can't believe it. Amanda Thompson wouldn't be happy.
Icon Station is pretty bad, though.
On the outside.
It's
Beautiful on the inside.
on the outside.
It's really
inside's
nice.
great.
Way better than
Yeah.
like Helix's station or something like that. It's a beauty on the inside. So
Velocicoaster looks very good, Amy.
yeah, actually, that's a
Yes.
good point. Like, there's a good coaster in terms of the coaster and the theming, probably. It'll be interesting to see how intense Velocicoaster actually is. I think that's going to be the real kicker.
The launch into the top of it appears to have a very strong kick to it. I mean, just watching it the other day, the first half, it kind of meanders. It has some speed to it, but that launch into the top hat, the train visibly shakes. And not like a rattle, just a lot of force being thrown onto it.
Yeah, that'll add to it, though. I think that'll make it more intense. A lot of people I've seen comparing Velocicoaster to Conda at Wallaby Belgium, because they're both, you know, new Intamins being built the same year. And I feel like I'm the only person who is still more interested in Velocicoaster than Conda.
Who's more interested in Conda?
I guess just people who only care about the layout. Velocicoaster just, I don't know, it's universal level theming on a really like good looking coaster.
first of all, Velocicoaster, it just looks more interesting. In my opinion, the layout design is generally more unique and different than Conda's pretty unique for a mega coaster, but I don't know how you could argue that Conda looks like a better coaster than Velocicoaster, especially the second half of Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
Velocicoaster is also visually stunning to walk around and get
Exactly.
nearby.
The
It
landscaping,
looks amazing.
it won't be rivaled by Conda, will it?
Oh, no.
Conda's like a flat field. You know, you're going to be
I
doing
mean,
a
the
barrel
station
roll
area
over the
around
lake.
Conda looks good, but
Yeah, exactly. But that's like
the
the
thing is
classic.
with
Go on.
any ride with that kind of layout, like an out and back layout, there's only so much theming you can do.
Exactly. Like Shambhala,
yeah.
same thing. You've got a theme station in that area, then you get on the coaster and you're in a sandy field. You know, it's like, that is just how it is. Silver Star's a car park coaster, a parking lot coaster, really. It's just a
But
problem
they
with
get,
those scale
they get
rides.
around that by theming the ride to cars.
Exactly.
So you just go past cars.
There you go.
On the car theme
it's
ride.
immersive
Yeah.
theming. It's all meant to be. Wow.
Conda and Velocicoaster are made to give two completely different types of forces, though. I don't think they're that drastically different. Like, they're different. I guess they get their energy from different places, but they're still both going to have airtime. They're both going to have snappy elements. They're both going to have intensity.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be drastically different from each other. I just think, you know, I can definitely see the argument that Conda could have a better layout, but I
don't know.
think the universal level theming, like on Velocicoaster, with the whole, like a whole section that's built around rocks, and you know the station on Velocicoaster is going to be amazing. I just think it's just so much more interesting to me.
Adding terrain to go around adds so much value to any ride. Like, if you took the terrain away from Terran, it wouldn't be anywhere near as great as people say it is. So, sorry, Andrew, go on.
No, I was gonna say another big thing with Velocicoaster, at least to me, is that park needs it badly, as they only have one thrill coaster. And that's just Hulk, because they lost both dragons, and Hagrid is.
Family.
We'll get to that.
Wouldn't you say?
It's no. Like, in terms of family thrill, yeah, but in terms of like accessibility, it's practically not in that park as of now.
Right.
And we'll talk about that maybe later. That's a different mess.
Yeah, but isn't Velocicoaster going to be the exact same mess?
I don't know, because it's not as complicated.
Yeah, but then, like,
You can at least see it.
Yeah, the thing is, right, though, how much downtime does Hagrid Bike actually have now?
Hagrid was acting up when I rode it, at least. We sat on the brake run for like 3 minutes.
Really?
And like, if this was at like a Six Flags, Cedar Fair, regional park, that would just be okay, whatever. But Universal, those rides are supposed to be moving.
Yeah, you
at all
shouldn't expect to
times.
sit on the brake run for.
So I was a little
that long,
surprised.
should you?
Like, that's
Yeah.
not right, because even the recording got desynced, because you're supposed to see the unicorn at the end, and we got the unicorn spiel way before we saw the unicorns.
Weird.
So Hagrid is a mess, to my understanding, in terms of both operationally, mechanically, and experience-wise. It's a fantastic ride experience. I'm not going to deny that, but that ride is anxiety-inducing to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason that Velocicoaster shouldn't work properly. You know.
They've been running it so much, too.
Exactly. There's
There's
reason.
no way it's not okay.
But my thing is, as soon as they open it, surely it's going to be busy as hell because people want to ride it.
Oh, 100%. And they'll probably do the same thing they do with Hagrid, to your point. But at least I can look at Velocicoaster.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like that is something that is almost an underrated aspect of roller coasters. Roller coasters that you can't see are just, in my opinion, less interesting most of the time. Because, you know, you spend most of the time at a park not riding coasters. You're in the queues or the pathways. And if you can't see a ride, then what value does it add when you're not on it? Does that make sense? You know, like look at all the people. Go on.
A lot of people won't even. They won't think anything of it. They'll be like,
Yeah.
you know.
But you know, think of Velocicoaster. Everyone's going to be going over that bridge, looking up at it, going, "What the hell is this?" You know, and wanting to ride it, and
Yeah.
it sells itself, and it is an attraction itself without even having to ride it.
And to Sam's
Yeah.
point, where it's a huge presence, I'm partially convinced the reasoning they were, because even I was at IOA recently, they were cycling it just all day. And at that point, testing is, I highly doubt testing is still required for like state certification to getting the ride okay for people to get on. It's more of we're going to run the ride to build onto the atmosphere of the park. So having a ride just sitting there shut like Iron Gwazi was, where it's just, you see it, but nothing's happening with it.
Yeah, it is kind of sad when that happens. Yeah, but you know, hopefully they are testing it to hell to make sure that when it opens, it's going to open smoothly. But
I mean, yeah, everything they're doing is still quote unquote testing, but I don't think, to my understanding, it's good to have guests on it. They've had guests on it.
Yeah. Oh well,
So-
we'll see if Intamin can mess it up again.
Not gonna hold my
think
breath
it's
on
not-
that one.
It's not got as many moving parts as Hagrid does, so I think it'll probably be somewhat more reliable.
Yeah, it should be, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Icebreaker is a coaster.
I agree. It's a coaster. I just don't have anything else to say. It just looks like this is good, and that's it.
I looked at it and I
Isn't-
was like, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
Isn't
looking at this
Icebreaker
ride.
the one with the
Quadruple
swing
launch.
launch that does it like 4 times?
Yeah.
That looks dumb.
Backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards.
Yeah. I don't know.
And what's weird is it's so separated from the rest of the coasters in the park.
Really?
It's not close to anything besides Sesame Street, I guess, or Sesame Place, what it's called. Because I spent most of my day at SeaWorld and I didn't even get close to Icebreaker for most of the day. I had to actively walk towards it to get close to it.
Yeah.
So it's
weird.
It doesn't have any. For me, at least, it'll open, it'll live.
I mean, it looks like it'll be a good addition to the park's overall lineup, without being a star attraction of that lineup, right? It's going to improve what's at the park, but won't be, hey, look at Mako, you know, kind of that style.
Look, SeaWorld will never top Mako, and that's all I'm going to say.
There you go. Wise words.
They can't top it.
Is
They
that your
can't
favorite
top
hyper
it.
now?
B&M, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's second?
Goliath?
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to break up the spreadsheet for that one.
Oh yes.
I should know this, but I don't off the top of my head. But I know the gap between Mako and the other hyper is pretty significant. I'll say that much. So you guys can do something else on.
Just
Sorry,
quickly,
if we will
there was
find
a
it.
Coaster Gen says Nemesis isn't closed this year. It's been running, and I am happy. I don't know why that was a rumor that Nemesis was going to be closed for like half the year.
Yeah.
Why would it be closed?
I don't know.
I feel like someone just said something and it just
Flat rides before,
spiraled.
guys. All those retro rides were because Nemesis was going to be down. Terrible.
Yeah.
Not to fill in empty plots at the landing, increase capacity for the park.
Definitely.
That'd be crazy.
Mondo Coaster says Desmo. Is it Desmo's Race? Is a coaster that exists that no one talks about. And then Kathy says Spike coasters look kind of okay. I don't know why Mara is banking on them so hard. They do look like very strange rides. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they're banking on that either.
What parks are they expecting to actually get them?
Exactly.
Like what gap do they fill at a park?
They
I don't
tried
know.
this on the Linomaki and didn't work out for them.
There's one on a ship. and there's one.
The ship, right? I can see that as a sure that makes sense in a way, but what kind of other case is there for a sort of similar ride, as you said?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like indoor? I don't know. It's just weird.
And to answer the BM question, it is Goliath at Over
There you
Georgia.
go.
Yeah. Looks solid.
That's a hot B&M.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Spikes would have a terrible capacity. That makes sense. You already get like 1 or 2 people on it, like 2 people per car. So
It's 2.
this is it. It kind of just adds to the what's the point. Yeah, indoor malls, as projection said, yeah, could be an interesting use case. Anything like low capacity. I want a roller coaster, but I don't really want a roller coaster.
Low capacity and low space.
Exactly, that kind of thing.
They seem good for that.
So, Hans Rai just says, you look like the evolution of headphones. We go from the chunk to Andrew's slightly less chunk to your earphones.
Oh yeah, that's a good observation.
It is a very good observation.
I like that.
And that was not planned, I'll say that
No,
much.
it wasn't.
I've not worn a headset like for about 5 or 6 years now.
Should have put my work headset on over the top just for the
Oh
vents.
god.
Didn't quite fit.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm sure that'll be very good.
Mm.
Looks like you're straining it a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. We got
Most outdated attraction that is overdue for removal at your home park. That is a very specific question.
Go on then, John.
Cyborg Cyber Spin.
What do you mean outdated? How's that outdated?
No one rides it.
Really? Why?
No.
Is it just
I
too
don't know.
intense?
Just no.
Is it? I don't know. I've never been on one, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, just no one rides it.
Strange.
I don't know. I thought it would be gone with the whole Six Flags ride removal thing, but Sam, I rode Cyborg 3 times the other day. I don't know what you're trying to get at here.
Go on, Joel. What's the ride
I
that
mean,
you would
Towers
remove?
is my home park. There's no Rita, I guess. That's yeah.
Shall I do a hot
Rita.
take?
Go on.
No, I don't believe this, but Galactica. Haha.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential if you remove Galactica in terms of to build with, like loads of potential. So,
You know, I know neither gonna like this, but in terms of outdated rides that could use an update, Oblivion might need it.
Oh, I agree. Like,
what could they do with that though, except like take it out?
Yeah, not
Maybe
to the
update
layout,
the
to theming.
videos.
Add an
inversion
on the end of it.
No.
Is that audible?
Okay. Okay, right. This is something that I've seen. I don't see many people say this.
Not
right?
anymore.
No. But like Oblivion is like fine.
It is
like,
fine.
They don't have space to add. They don't have space to add an inversion to it. They don't have the momentum to add an inversion to it because what people don't realize is when Oblivion drops into that tunnel,
Sorry, Sam.
there's a lot of wind pressure on it, which slows the train down quite a lot. So by the time it's out of that tunnel, it just doesn't have the momentum to do anything. All it can really do is what it does, just turn and go into the brake run. And if you removed Oblivion, what could you fit in that space? You've got like a tiny strip along the side of X sector. Like, yeah. So, you know, Oblivion's like fine how it is. But yeah, I agree, like it could definitely use an update in terms of just the visuals.
I think Sam said it's very 90s,
right.
and I think it definitely could use a de-90sifying.
That's the thing. In that, have you seen that little documentary about Oblivion and how they designed the ride and all that stuff? And they said, "Oh, we want it to be something very millennium because it was a 90s." And it, you know, it's just so 90s.
Yeah.
Everything about it, like
Yeah.
the soundtrack, all of the theming. It's got big bulky TVs and cheesy. It looks like Crystal Maze. It literally looks like Crystal Maze.
Nah, I think you're right. I think you could do with an update, and I think it would add a lot of value to update it and bring it more into line with the Smiler. You know, integrate it better, merge the things together. I think would be really interesting. Yeah.
The soundtrack is, as
good.
much as the soundtrack is great, it sounds very dated.
It sounds nice as hell, but it's like,
the thing, I would be sad to see it go, but I feel like it probably should go.
See,
if they were going to change it,
give it the old what I was quoted for Thorpe, but because you're actually working with good soundtracks to begin with, you might get something good out at the end. As in, update them, but still keep
the same melodies and motifs. And
yeah.
Just modernize it.
Exactly. So that is exactly what they did with a lot of the Thorpe rides, but I've just never been interested in any of the Thorpe coasters soundtracks. They're just generally not that interesting. Colossus makes me want to kill myself. So, but again, I don't think people would be very happy with doing that. People like that kind of. People are very attached to that soundtrack. I don't even. Monocoaster says the Oblivion, the Black Hole soundtrack. I don't even know what that soundtrack is like. I've been on that ride quite a lot when I went, and I can't remember what it sounds like. Yeah.
I've never heard that before. There are definitely some good orchestral soundtracks out there, though.
Mako.
I
don't really know that
one. Mako
orchestral?
I think it is.
I
might be very wrong.
Barely listened to it.
And Sam will yell at me if I am wrong.
I really liked Valkyria's soundtrack. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And there's even Helix has some orchestral sections to it that are great.
Mm. Helix is interesting. It's just a bit different from your standard, standard coaster soundtrack. Classic adventure music, as I like to call it. Very different.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for a soundtrack as well. You can't really appreciate it properly. Well, I feel like you can't really appreciate it properly until you're there, actually hearing it in person.
For sure.
Because I was with Helix, I was always this is a good soundtrack, but never really thought much of it until I actually went to the park, and literally as I got into the station of Helix for the first time, it was playing the really intense dubsteppy part of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty hype.
It is.
It really got me going for the ride.
I agree. I didn't even care to listen to Carnage's soundtrack. I liked the ride obviously before I went on it because I was interested in it, but I was never interested in the soundtrack. It's only after going on the ride and that the soundtrack is such a interesting part of the ride that you kind of enjoy it more. Coaster Jane says, what do you think of the Big One's new soundtrack? It's cool. I'm happy that it has a soundtrack. Any ride that has a soundtrack is a big thumbs up, unless it's Millennium Force, and that's a big thumbs down.
What?
I don't like Millennium Force's soundtrack.
I like it. Yeah, Millennium Force soundtrack is fine until you hear other soundtracks.
Exactly. That is it.
For people in Ohio, that's the only soundtrack they got.
Yeah, if that's the only one you're listening to, fine. But as soon as you hear something else, you're like, damn, this is not great. Don't know.
I like it. I enjoy it. It's ride music. That's the thing for me. A lot of ride music is just ride music. I wouldn't listen to it outside of actually, being at that park or.
I think, as Projection says, a lot of it falls into the same generic epic soundtracks. Where I don't know what it is, where the parks just tell whoever makes their music, oh, I want it to sound epic and intense, and it's very just and samey. I really do appreciate the soundtracks that are more interesting, like Helix, I don't know, Smiler or Wicker Man, or something that just has a soul to it, that sets it apart from the other soundtracks. I don't know. It's just more interesting when it really feels different. that makes sense.
I want to touch upon the Orion soundtrack real quick. That's the ride. I think the soundtrack is used horribly.
Really? Where is it used?
It's used at the lockers next to Flight of Fear, and that's it. There's nothing in the queue, nothing in the station. You just hear it at the lockers by Flight of Fear.
Why?
And it's like the same loop. It's not even the full song, and I only know that because if you look at the teasers for Orion, they have other clips of it. But it's always the same, maybe minute and a half loop at Orion. And calling it Orion soundtrack is not accurate. At least last year it wasn't. I mean, I know with COVID, things might have been difficult with Orion.
Yeah.
But that's probably the most disappointing soundtrack I've heard in terms of utilization. It just doesn't do anything for anything.
What about Mystic Timbers? Isn't that just played outside the entrance to the queue line?
Yeah, but at least it's near. At least it's like associated with the ride. That's designed for.
That is kind of a shame. Like, why would you have a soundtrack and pay for a soundtrack if you're not going to put it in the station, in the queue?
They haven't published it either, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It is strange.
Right, I have to go to the loo. I'll be back shortly.
So yeah. Cedar Fair has not really figured out the whole soundtrack thing. Yeah.
They really haven't.
No.
They really have. Six Flags, as much as people give them garbage, they have some bopping soundtracks.
What soundtracks do they have?
They have Kingda Ka.
Okay.
Skull Mountain.
What is that though? What's the Kingda Ka soundtrack?
It's a playlist of songs from Safri Duo. There's an Eye of Tiger remix, and then there's some club music that's like, it's a banger when it plays in the plaza, but it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called though. Nitro. Rest in peace, Mortal Kombat. That's gone now. It's now Deadmau5.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure if I like it or not.
Right. I have to. I need to listen to it. You have to send it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you. The song is Ghost and stuff. So if any viewer is a Deadmau5 fan, that they play instrumental version of that, and Mortal Kombat is gone. Just Skull Mountain. There was a soundtrack for Great American Scream Machine. That's not there. Ecuador at Magic Mountain is a bop. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Six Flags does theming better than Cedar Fair in many regards. And I know people are not going to like that discussion, so I'm going to stop it there.
Cedar Fair seemed to, like, stylize, to use that word. They just make it look decent, if that makes sense. You know, like Valraven's circles. It looks okay.
It looks nice.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything, like, any... I don't know. It doesn't have anything. It just looks nice.
They make their rides look sort of presentable.
Exactly.
Themed.
Yeah.
Talon, I feel like it's like that. It looks very polished and kind of well kept from the outside. It's very neatly built.
Yeah, in terms of
particular theme to it.
Dorney, like Talon, Hydra, Steel Force, they're
all
all very well presented in terms of visually.
Yeah.
Even like King's Dominion, I-305 it has its own dedicated plaza to it. And even Twisted Timbers has its own thing going on.
Twisted Timbers is quite nice. Like, there's not much theming to it.
It looks like there's a decent, add some value kind of theming though.
Yeah, a lot of what they've done to Twisted Timbers is really nice. Like what they did to the station, and the trains are really nice. They did that tree that's got like the twisted metal in it and stuff. It's really good what they did around there, I think.
But then they're also really bad at upkeeping it. And not I-305 specifically, as when I went in 2015, that area being NASCAR, being to like this NASCAR circuit, it played exclusively country rock music, which is a nice contrast from the pop music everywhere else in the park. But now they only play... Now I walk to I-305 and I hear The Weeknd, and I'm like, this is stupid. It lost all character. I-305 is now just a coaster in Virginia, as far as
Well-
Katie is aware.
I rode I-305 in 2018, and I distinctly remember the ride breaking down, us getting stuck on the brake run after we got off, and when we finally got out, we walked down the exit path, and Despacito was playing on the radio around
Yeah,
the
it wasn't like that in 2015.
No,
So sad. Yeah.
it was, yeah. pretty
Kazumi
funny.
wants to know our thoughts on the Euromir soundtrack.
I've never heard it.
It's,
Oh, wait, no, it's like the weird
a big
disco-y stuff,
green
isn't
track. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, big green track.
Oh, yeah.
I
Which you
am not a
can't-
fan of Euromir in any way. I think it's a really badly made ride, poorly designed, absolute garbage. They should get rid of it, but they won't.
Maybe they can update like Eurosect it was.
Yeah, they probably will, but the problem is, right, the layout is hot garbage. So you update it, you're not going to add any value. So you might as well tear it down and naturally build a better ride. And also make it look better than, oh, look at these glass octagon towers or whatever the hell
I
they
don't
are.
think they're particularly bad looking.
No,
honestly.
they wouldn't be, except when you have a weird roller coaster snaking around the top of them. It makes them look a bit weird. I don't know. It's just bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam says Europa Park really suffers from having the earliest versions of a lot of the Mac rides, and that's it. They're just, yeah, it's for sure. I mean, I feel like most manufacturers do that. They fine tune their models as they go on, and Euromir really does suffer from being the first of its kind, for sure.
That's why most Cedar Point B&Ms are kind of not that good, comparatively speaking.
Like
Because
what?
by okay.
You can't say
Raptor.
Raptor. Raptor was
No,
on
I can't say
first.
Raptor. Raptor's my least favorite invert.
It's barely a first though.
It opened.
94.
It was the first third custom B&M invert designed. That's pretty early,
Is it?
comparatively speaking to
Were
how many
all the
inverts
ones
there
in
are.
92 and 93 the clones?
You had Flight Deck at CGA. You had Nemesis,
Right. Okay.
and then the rest were Batman.
Sure. I'll give you it. I don't agree, but I'll give you it.
Was 96 also? Wait, 96 might have been Matsu as well. Was it?
Yeah.
I know 97 was Alpengeist.
Yeah, I know you know that. So Matsu was 96. What opened first? Raptor? Wait, no, Raptor's 94, wasn't it?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. 94 Raptor.
So 2 years after Batman at Great America.
Yeah. This projection said that
Opened.
the original Batman was custom. Like you can't. That's one.
I mean, yeah. So Batman, Flight Deck, and when did Nemesis open?
94
But, like,
March.
did it open? So it opened before Raptor. Okay, you got me there.
Yeah. I just like. I feel like only the first of a model shouldn't be as good. You know, by the second one, you should have realised that this doesn't work, so we're not going to do it, and let's perhaps try this. So the second one might not be as good as later ones down the line, but it should be a step up from the others. And then I feel like a good example would be Oblivion compared to something like Shikra. You know,
Yeah. Well,
huge
Wow.
difference.
I know someone in the chat thinks otherwise about Oblivion and Shikra.
Why?
I mean-
oh right. In terms of like the drop,
I mean-
sure. Like, yeah, fine. But as in the fact that it does more than just a drop.
It does more, but you know.
I know Shikra is very. Can it get done? Okay, that's mean. Shikra does stuff, but it's nothing I'd call amazing
Yeah.
after the drop.
Yeah, I get it because they just can't be. They're huge trains that like bleed speed,
This is, yeah.
and you can't do anything
This is
about
the
it because they're all
thing
going
with-
really fast.
This is the thing with dive coasters, and this is why Oblivion will always be the best one. Because, like, the only good thing they can really do is a drop, and after that, every other element is just sort of big and floaty and not very interesting. And, you know, like, any element that a dive coaster does after the drop is just would be done better by any other model that B&M could do, because the trains just allow it to be better.
Yeah.
I feel the thing is, you have like.
Go
Oh, sorry.
Oblivion just does its best element and then ends.
Yeah.
Because anything else it could do afterwards would just be a waste.
And it does it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say,
so,
go on, Andrew, you go.
Yeah, so in terms of like the dive coasters doing what they can do, I mean, yeah, Griffin is the same problem where it drops Immelman turn, that's it, and it does it again. Just barely what Sheikah does. But then you have something like Valraven. Well, I know Valraven, in terms of the Fuzi community, can be considered hot garbage by opinions. At least it has a layout. It actually turns more than left or right, whichever way they turn. I don't like.
Yeah. As Zach said, I think the mini dives have improved on the problem with most dive coasters. Because they don't have to be as big and they're not as bulky, you can do more interesting elements with them that aren't as super slow and floaty. You know, like Valkyria, Oblivion, the Black Hole, that kind of thing.
I would argue that there isn't a mini dive with a drop as good as Oblivion.
No, there isn't. There isn't. Like that is true.
I think they have the potential to solve that problem, but they haven't yet.
Well, not in terms of drop, in terms of like mini dive layout.
They have the potential to be better than Oblivion in my eyes on how I view dive coasters, I guess. Because Valkyria is really good, I think.
But the one, like the main point of it, the drop, is just in a different,
not as good as Oblivion.
Nowhere near Oblivion's. It's not even in the same league. It might as well not be a dive coaster, you know. The drop's cool, but you don't feel anything. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Whereas Oblivion, you technically don't feel anything, but that's what you want, if that makes sense. You know, it is you feel like you're falling, whereas on Valkyria, you don't feel like you're falling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. But Valkyria still. I mean, Valkyria's tunnel's cool, especially when it starts to get dark, because they've got the smoke or mist or whatever it is, and they have blue lights, so you get this blue mist coming out around the drop, which is cool. I kind of wish they'd have more mist on Oblivion's drop again.
Definitely.
The mist I don't know if I can't remember if the mist is like not as powerful as it used to be, or just not there at all. But
I feel like it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's on and doing well. Sometimes it's not on, and sometimes it's like slightly on. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Matt said, just the tunnel.
For sure. It makes it.
Yeah.
Without the tunnel, it's just not the same.
And Zach said, building a tunnel like that isn't financially viable for most parks. Honestly, it wouldn't be financially viable for towers if they did it. If they wanted to do it now.
No, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. But I think that makes it just like no dive coaster goes underground for as long as Oblivion does. And it's that whole spectacle of it just down and it disappears before it's barely going straight again.
It doesn't flatten out, It's like
kind of flattening out a little bit, but you don't see it.
No.
So from most people's perspective off ride, it just goes vertically down into a hole.
It is
most
perfect.
Dive coasters don't do.
It is so
and that's
perfect.
what makes it so
I
good.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam mentioned Crake, and Crake is close to being like that because the monster, the actual Kraken or whatever the hell it's meant to be called, the Kraken is like nearly covering most of the level out section, you know. So there's only that little bit where it does start to, level out a bit, and that's a cool ride.
But most of what the train goes into on that is still above the ground.
Yeah.
Like you can still clearly see the whole structure.
Exactly.
The track.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same spectacle as just going straight down.
Yeah. There's just something to say to be, fall literally into a hole. It had so much power. I don't know.
The sound it makes as well.
Yeah.
You can't.
No.
It just that sound is just amazing.
One day, Andrew, you'll see what we mean. You'll get on it, and then you'll be like, "Oh, is that it?"
I'd still say Griffin's better, probably.
I'd be interested to see if you think the drop is better on Griffin.
I don't know. It's too speculatory for me because I have no idea.
Griffin's drop would be better if it went into a tunnel, because
It
Griffin's
does go into a
bigger.
tunnel.
Griffin's drop is bigger, and also what makes Griffin's drop so good is
The second one does, doesn't it?
The
Oh,
tunnel?
Griffin, no, neither of them do really.
The first one goes under a bridge, which is a tunnel.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. Under a bridge is
It's
not a tunnel.
It's not a tunnel.
That is.
What's your
weird.
definition of a tunnel?
Underground.
Not a bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Underground is the definition of a tunnel.
Yeah. But one of the things that makes Griffin's drop so good is it's got 3 rows. So if you're on the back row, on the holding break, you're barely down the drop. So when it actually does drop, you get really pulled down into it. That's good. That's one thing that Griffin is cool.
Same with Oblivion the Black Hole. That third row is good, definitely, for getting whipped over the edge.
Yeah, and Valkyria. One of the things that made Valkyria for me actually was the holding break on the front row. And because the vests don't lock, you like hang down in the vest over the drop. That's pretty cool as well.
My advice for anyone riding Valkyria is do not ride it in any other row but the front. It is so much better on the front, purely because of that reason. That you do, 1, you get to see the drop, and 2, you actually feel like you're falling towards it before you fall down. Because of the restraint has some of that loose bit. Yeah.
And there is a separate key for the front as well.
There is. And it doesn't even take that much longer. So you might as well ride it on the front. It's definitely worth it. Because we didn't the second time we went to Leesburg. And then we didn't for most of the day. And then we did the front. And was like, why haven't we been on the front? Like, there was just no point. It's just so much better than the other rows. So.
Yeah.
And going for what Sam said, comparing it to Oblivion to Falcon's Fury, if it's like that, that will be cool. Because Falcon's Fury, you're not in that seat at all when you're up there. That's a really weird sensation. So if that's the case, it probably would be better drop than Griffin and Shikra. And Valraven, obviously. But I need to ride it to verify that myself. So that's a lot about dive coasters, huh?
Yeah, let's move on. Shark Draco, best Mac multi-launch. No question here, boys. No question.
Copperhead Strike.
Helix, of course it is.
Helix.
Andrew's wrong.
When I've been on.
Helix for sure.
Yeah, it's probably Helix.
There's no other multi-launch on the scale of Helix yet.
No,
yeah,
there
Helix.
isn't.
No. Yeah.
Jersey Devil coaster. It looks great. It looks big,
interesting.
and I want it to open.
Yeah, my only thoughts with Jersey Devil is that it looks like it takes most of the interesting things about that compact Raptor model. It looks like it just disregards.
You mean in terms of like the turning radii?
Yeah.
Because that was a big thing where it's like you could go like a degree every 3 feet or something silly like that.
Yeah. This is it.
I might be completely off
in
base.
my mind, they could build that ride with iBox track. The
I
layout.
don't think they could. No.
No, they couldn't. I agree, but most of the layout, I think they could. Only the turnarounds at the end they couldn't. But so much of it is airtime hills, 0G rolls.
Well, have you seen the dive loop profiling?
Yeah, it's jank as hell. I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that it could be, right? Obviously, you'd have to reprofile it, but the layout just, I don't know. It's just not like the other two. You know, it doesn't have that really whippy. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go over there. You know,
Well,
it's all in a straight line, and I get that that's the point, but I just I don't know.
like all of it's considered with the twistiness of Wonder Woman and Railblazer, while they are more twisty, the only 2 twists they got is the off-axis hill after the Raven turn, and the S-bend after that. Besides that, it's mostly just inversions or just overbank turn. So
Yeah, but then how many of those does Jersey Devil have? Most of it's
Jersey
airtime
has an
hills and-
overbank turn.
Yeah.
It has the
turnarounds do
spider
it have?
turn.
Two.
Technically 3. If you count the dive loop.
No. Yeah. Isn't one of them just like a turn though, like an inside turn?
Like an overbank.
But it's not overbanked, is it?
The-
I
After
can't
the
remember
block
the
break, it
layout.
is, yeah. So it's, you know that, if you remember the Raptor layout at all, that overbank before the break run on the standard model, it's just that after the block break.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Then it
yeah.
has a spider turn,
What's
which
that?
that's the the turn on the other side.
Is that where you go up like the? I think I kind of know what that is.
Like it's that turn where you go up. It's after the stall. You go up your basically 90 degrees when you're at the top of it, and you just whip around, and then it flattens and then drops off again.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
It looks good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy it's opening.
For
That's
sure.
all it is.
And it looks
I
like a
mean,
really good ride. Yeah, I just, as Matt basically summarizes what I say, it just doesn't look like you're making the use of the tech and using single rail for the sake of it being single rail.
Well, it also fits in the space very well.
Of course.
Like I don't think they could fit a wider coaster in there.
No, no.
But also it's gonna be really nice for that park, as that's another coaster for Holiday in the Park to be open.
What? Because it could run in low temperatures.
Well, yes.
What's
Anything
the
could
real
run-
reason?
Anything can run in low temperatures if you try hard enough.
Is that true?
Yes.
How hard do you have to try?
What about when they tried to run Mystic Timbers in snow?
Yeah, and it stalled.
No, they use Mystic Timbers as a snow plow, and that did not account for friction with that.
That was funny.
Yeah.
But
They just... I just like that whole like concept. Like, let's just put a plow on the front to clear the track. What could possibly go
didn't
wrong?
come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
just funny.
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't open Jersey Devil. It's gonna be a new ride. It's gonna be right there. So, is what is
Well, they should open it, shouldn't they? Really?
for Holiday in the Park.
When is that?
Like November to January.
What other rides are open usually at that time?
Nitro, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman,
So quite a lot.
Skull Mountain, Joker. It's basically Kingda Ka, El Toro, Bizarro, My Turn Not Open. That's it.
Hmm. Interesting.
So basically the rides that cannot run the cold.
Yeah. Jamimations is adamant to hear our thoughts on Pantheon.
Yes, it looks amazing.
Yes.
That's like,
There you go.
as someone who's been to Busch Gardens.
Someone who loves Busch Gardens.
Yeah. So that area it's in, when you look over the river, you got, at the moment, you look, well, like when I last went, you look one side and there's Verbolten, and then the other side was just nothing, and now Pantheon is on that other side as well. So that's just a cool spectacle from that bridge. But the top hat looks nuts. I think no matter how slow it goes over that top hat, if you're in the back row, you're going to get thrown out of your seat, and it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, it looks great. I don't know if it'll be as good as Conda or Velocicoaster, but it looks really good for that park. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's probably the best ride in that park, for me at least, when it opens.
What is the best ride?
I can see that.
Now.
Hoppengeist.
Yes.
It's kind of sad.
Does this show
Not
up on
really.
stream?
I know, not to most people. To me, it is.
Yeah.
But
Apollo's Chariot was not very good.
oh yeah, Apollo's Chariot. I'm sure I'd like that.
Griffin's better, so
Well,
Depends if it depends if you get the same experience that I did, and apparently a lot of the Americans did.
but Joel, it's an elite
When-
roller coaster. That's what I've heard.
but Apollo?
Yeah, Apollo's Chariot is elite.
Who's telling you that?
People?
I was
Boomers
told-
or
yeah. Well, I mean, I heard a lot of people say like, oh, it's one of the best B&M hikers.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Like,
It was trimming really hard when I rode it. It was pretty disappointing. Like, it was fun.
sad.
The setting of it is amazing. It definitely has the best setting of the B&M hypers I've done, because it is kind of in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I do think
Um,
Pantheon would be the best ride there for sure. I
Mm.
think it looks very interesting. The start is weird. You know that
On
like
Pantheon?
yeah, that launch into the whatever 0G whatever it is, and then you kind of we're gonna meander a bit, and then we go into the triple launch.
It almost seems like they had the idea of the top hat over the river and maybe like
Yeah.
the stall,
They need to
but
get
didn't-
there somehow.
but didn't really know what else to do with the space,
Yeah.
and just sort of had to design like this little thing that it could do before that.
The only other thing I'll say
Um,
is it looks kind of short. If you exclude that start section, well, if you just talk about going over the top hat to the brakes, it looks kind of short, and it looks kind of sad how fast it goes into the brakes. There's so much more speed and energy that you have left over before you hit the end. It's kind of a shame that they didn't use it, but then I could also see why they didn't use it, because going through elements at that speed, they have to be huge. Just look at the turns that it has; they're massive.
And that's a trend I've been noticing more recently, and this might be going to a different discussion altogether. But it seems like parks are, when they're building new rides, like advertise that they got this ride, they will only build to the point where they say we got it, and not go any further than that.
Well, it's return on investment, isn't it? Why build more if you're not going to get anything back for
Yeah,
it?
like if it's going to be the same promotion regardless, like Orion, let's go back to that. It's a giga coaster, so they built a 300-foot drop on a coaster, which by definition is a giga coaster, and it is the tallest and fastest and longest steel coaster, Kings Island. What they built was all they needed to get that, and if they built more, it would not have changed any factor in the matter. They still would have been getting the investment they wanted. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But like with Pantheon too, it's what they okay. They claim it's the world's fastest multi-launch coaster, which it isn't. If you're going to be technical about it,
You're talking about
But-
separate launches.
yeah, well, whatever it is, it's not. But in the case of their promotion, it is.
See, that goes
They-
back to what I was saying at the start. All American parks, can't trust them. I'm lying.
Yeah, we're terrible people at that.
It's all just marketing.
Exactly.
Every park's guilty of it.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just American.
No, you're
parks.
right.
Yeah, but Pantheon seems to be one of those rides where it's built to get the record, and that's it. Iron Gwazi, same story. Where it's like we built the tallest hybrid, and now it's how we're going to end it quickly, so we don't have to pay more money.
Yeah.
That's a general vibe I get from a lot of parks nowadays. Where they're like, let's build our coasters to say we have it, and that's it.
I can agree with that.
Which
It's
Because you're
actually
not
really
seeing
silly.
Coaster Wars level like, yeah, let's build Millennium Force, which is the world's tallest coaster, but also it does so much more than just being the world's tallest and fastest coaster. Full circuit coaster, I should say.
Yeah, it does turns and
Could have been overbanked turn to the
turns.
brick run for all they could have done, and they would have still had the record.
That's Oblivion. What do you mean? Literally overbanked. It's not even overbanked. Oh, it is overbanked, I think.
I mean, that's what Dragster and Kyle were actually just. We
Yeah.
did it. Let's stop.
I mean, I feel like that's a fair play. Like you're building a 400-foot tall coaster. Fine, I'll let you off for just going up and down. That's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. That is a trend. Yeah, but I feel like there's a trend when you try and build these huge coasters. There's just no point after you have broken the record, as you said, to do any more. Whereas the other kind of thing going on in like Europe is screw the records. Let's just build something that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like Fly doesn't really have any records. I mean, it's the first like fine launch coaster, but I feel like it's only launched because it couldn't be anything else. You know. So Yeah, I just more. It's I don't know. I don't know how like mainland European parks end up marketing these coasters that aren't that interesting. If that makes sense. Like, how is Tripstrel marketing their new Vekoma invert? Like, what's special about that?
That's it,
It's
I guess
intertwined with another
it's new.
coaster.
Yeah, it's just another coaster.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of the time, all you really need to do to advertise a ride is just say, advertise a new ride is to just say it's a new ride. Come and experience our new ride, and that'll be enough for some people. It doesn't have to have some special thing for it to do.
Mm.
Like, especially for a little regional park like Tripstrel, a lot of people would just be like, oh, Tripstrel have got a new ride, let's go back to Tripstrel. Because that's just the people that go
Oops.
there often anyway.
I just broke the web. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
That was bad.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
I fixed it. We're good. We're back.
Whoa.
Okay. Awesome.
I
Oh,
think.
It's gone to... Wait, no, it's
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
to
yeah,
the...
yeah. We're back.
There we go.
We're back. My
Right.
bad. My bad. Someone said that the Discord link
Minor
didn't work,
technical
so then I
faults.
clicked it to try and see if it worked. And then, unsurprisingly, it linked back to our Discord and took me out of the call that we were in.
Is it that you have to do? What's the command you have to do to get the thing? Is there a
Isn't
command?
it-
It should be
Exclamation
Discord, but I don't know
Discord.
if it's actually on.
It didn't bring it up.
Yeah, it probably is broken. Anyway, yeah, we have a Discord server while we're talking about this. The link's in the description. I think it works. It's discord.coasterbot.com. These two guys are in it. Joel at the end, he runs it. And it's a great place. Lots of cool people talking about cool roller coasters and cool theme parks. So sometimes, we chat on there, and sometimes there's lots of people in the voice chat having conversations. So, yeah,
Or gaming.
or gaming. So if you want to talk roller coasters and want to talk roller coasters with other people who like roller coasters, Coasterbot Discord. Good place. Link in the description.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Carry on. What were we talking about? How are mainland European theme parks selling these rides that aren't very interesting?
Yeah. I was just thinking. I just think enough. It's enough for most parks to be able to say we've got a new ride.
Mm.
Because a lot of the people that they're trying to entice are just return visitors. People who have been once because it's their nearest theme park and might consider going back if they got something new.
So I think part of it too is when, especially like European parks, sometimes when they build a coaster, they have a new area with it, like Storm Chaser. It's not just Storm Chaser; it's Tornado Springs.
That's a whole new area.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of parks, like Europe, Bobbejaanland, I think was the same way.
Yeah.
That's all I can think off my head. But yeah,
I've lost my
that's the
train of
deal
thought
with
now. I was going to
coaster.
say something and I've completely forgotten what it was. I was just thinking about Tornado Springs. They are actually like, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but maybe Harry might have. But in the UK, Portland's Park adverts, you get them up north. Like when I went to Blackpool, we stopped at a Services in Warrington, which is pretty far north. And there was a Portland's Park, like big, like fancy Portland's Park video advert on a billboard at the service station we stopped at. When Paulton's is near Southampton, like right on the south coast, and we were like, that puts us at like a 3-4 hour drive away from it, which for the UK
It's
like,
far.
Yeah.
But I guess there's always people who are going on trips in the UK. You might go on a trip down to the south coast of the UK and think, I got young kids, let's go Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it's all about. It's just trying to get the word out that this thing exists. Hope that people come to it.
Yeah. If only Blackpool had done the same for Icon.
This is it. Like, Icon opened, but I feel like no one knew about it. Like, no one knew it
No.
opened except for people who lived near.
It partly got completely overshadowed by Wicker Man, because Merlin just did like a massive advertising campaign for Wicker Man that stretched like everywhere because they're Merlin.
I feel like Wicker
do
Man,
that.
they didn't go as hard advertising that as they did for the Smiler.
I don't know, like I was still seeing a lot of Wicker Man branded stuff in shops and stuff
Really?
like that. Yeah,
Maybe
like
I was
it
just
was
like not really paying attention.
what are those Ridge Cut crisps?
Oh
Seabrooks.
yeah.
They all had Wicker Man brand on them. Smiler, they put it on cereal. Cal's Crave was Smiler.
Yeah.
Smiler branded. And I got Wicker Man adverts on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. Back then.
Yeah.
But at Blackpool, like, I mean, we saw a TV advert for Icon, but I never saw it on. I say I never saw it on TV, but I don't watch TV, so I don't know. But it felt like there wasn't really much marketing for Icon outside of like they marketed it in Blackpool and like the surrounding towns.
Yeah.
And there were a few leaflets in service stations that had Icon on, but definitely they could have definitely gone a bit further out.
And I think the advertising campaign for Icon was terrible.
Mm.
I don't know what they went with it, but I don't know. It just didn't work. It's like, oh, look at this, we're crafting a roller coaster. Here's 5 seconds of the ride. Icon. Ride it now. You know, it's like, I don't know.
It was pretty poor.
Yeah.
Which is a shame for what such a fantastic ride for the UK.
Yeah.
It's like, people don't know it exists. Like everyone who I've talked to about Coaster Zoo isn't really into it. They'll be like, I'd say on towns, it's like, oh yeah, they've got that new one, haven't they? And it's like, oh yeah, have you heard about the new one in Blackpool? It's like, no. What new one in Blackpool?
Yeah.
Like, people don't even know what Blackpool Pleasure Beach has. Like, they know like the Pepsi Max and the Big Dipper, maybe the Grand National. Like, yeah. But that's just a general thing with the UK. People only really know about whatever park is like the closest to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which for most people it will be like, you know, not much more than an hour and a half to their closest park. So people will just go to whatever's closest. They're not going to drive further for Blackpool when they don't know anything about it.
Very true. Single Rail Industries asks a very interesting question. Will we ever see a wooden single rail coaster?
What would be the point of a wooden single rail coaster is my question.
I mean, we saw how wooden coasters worked with Extreme Elements and how that didn't work out for some
Yeah,
of them.
man. Didn't work out at all, did it?
No, so I think if someone's going to try it, it'll be some random startup company that's going to build 3 rides and then go bankrupt.
I feel like a wooden single rail coaster is something you would only build just to say that you're the first person to build it, but practically I don't think it would be very good.
Yeah. I don't even know how you do that. It sounds like an absolute nightmare. Yeah, Matt says,
I mean, wooden coasters are going to be stuck being traditional, and that's personally how they should be. I don't think you need to get fancy with wood because wood isn't as sturdy.
what do you think of GCI's steel track?
It did wonders for White Lightning, I could say that much.
Really? Could you tell the difference?
Oh, 100%. It was obvious because that park does not take care of their wooden coasters at all.
Right. Interesting.
So I think but it didn't feel like it was on a steel coaster. It still felt like it was on a wooden coaster, but a smooth wooden coaster.
That's good then. I feel like it has a lot of value because I think my problem with wooden coasters is that they seem to be coming either, you know, like you got your GCI ones, fine, but everything else, all the big thrill ones aren't really wooden coasters anymore. You know, like all of the RMC Iron Horse treatment stuff it's just so far from being a wooden coaster that it isn't in my eyes. Whereas what GCI could effectively do is introduce all of these more intense elements and still have it be a wooden coaster. Still get your GCI twisty section, your pops, but then put in a corkscrew or, a zero G stall or whatever you want. But you don't have to make it all like that. I don't know. I just feel like it has a lot of potential to not ruin wooden coasters, if that makes sense. Like the traditionality, is that word, of wooden coasters. You can enhance them without changing them.
Well, wooden coasters have always been kind of, here's our comfort zone, and then one person or company says, let's take a step out. It flops miserably. Then you say, okay, let's go back. Then it eventually oscillates to that point of innovation. I mean, we've seen that a few times just throughout wooden coaster history, which maybe we'll make a video on it. Perhaps make a video on it. I don't know, Harry, we're making a video on it.
Maybe.
Exactly, maybe.
We'll see.
No, the history of wooden coasters in general, it really kind of provides some idea into how that specific industry evolves. Because you see, there's a lot of ideas that people have, which are revolutionary ideas, but the technology wasn't there for it. And I think we're almost getting to a point where we're kind of seeing that happen again, where maybe not to the same degree, where it's like Son of Beasts, which was probably the last big push out of comfort zone for Woodies and then fall back in.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think Woodies are doing inversions, and nothing has gone extremely wrong with them yet.
No. Yeah.
So maybe that trend is being broken. Maybe we'll find out in 5 years every inverting wooden coaster is gone. Mm-hmm. Which, that would be a shame.
It would be. People are right to mention Gravity Group. They've been doing inversions for a while. The thing with Gravity Group is their inversions are made of wood, as far as I'm aware. They're not steel, which inherently means that they can't do as much as if they were steel. So,
even they've only done barrel rolls, and that's it.
And quite often the structure is still steel. It's just wooden track.
Exactly.
With steel structure.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very interested to see what GCI do with this. Yeah.
Would you rather have had the GCI originally planned instead of Saw the Ride?
Absolutely GCI.
I don't know,
you haven't
I
ridden them.
guess.
Can't say that.
It depends.
I've been on Gurst and I don't like them as much.
What's your best Gurst?
Shaw Razor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like, I haven't been impressed by. I mean, I've only been on like kind of crap GCIs, so I don't really. I can't really say like I would definitely want a GCI because I haven't experienced one of the good ones yet.
Yeah, for some reason, East Coast got the worst GCIs ever built. And I don't know how that happened.
I only rode like half of them as well because I got a bit ill and couldn't ride certain things. But I like Saw. Saw is like... This is the thing. Saw the Ride is probably it is my favourite coaster at Thorpe, so...
Same.
The GCI would have to be better than that, which I could see.
Yeah. I like GCI. I think it would have been good.
I would rather have the GCI instead of something else like Colossus or.
I would have been happy with either. I think is the way I'd put it.
Yeah.
So. I think it'd be interesting if they got a GCI now. What the?
That would help them out a lot, but Merlin can't maintain wooden coasters, as we know.
Well, we don't know that. Like,
isn't Wicker Man like a mess, allegedly?
No, it's not a mess. The problem, Andrew, right, is every enthusiast is an absolute baby, right? And Wicker Man was perfectly smooth when it was new, because it was new. So everyone thought that it was going to keep like that forever, and be this glossy, smooth wooden coaster. which I'm sure that you know isn't true, and that wooden coasters don't do that. So then,
No.
as soon as it started to act more like a wooden coaster, everyone was very upset. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Wickham over the next few years. Those will be the critical points, I think. We're not quite there yet where they have had to really replace bits. They have replaced bits already, but we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know though. I feel like, Hyde Park's Colossus thing, that thing's an absolute beast to maintain anyway. You can't just get your local carpenter and go, "Oi mate, fix a few new planks of wood to this, please." You got to go through something more complex. So
That's allegedly why Mind Blower at Fun Spot Kissimmee is not good.
really,
The track work was rushed,
oh right,
and it's really noticeable. Now, I should say there's enough floating coasters that goes beyond roughness being painful as roughness sapping speed. And that's the big problem Mind Blower has, where the roughness of the track work being a mess,
just kills. Speed. Yeah,
it loses its speed like halfway through. And it's and at the end it's almost struggling to get back, it feels like.
it's weird. You wouldn't think that of a wooden coaster.
Well, because you leave the train jostling around the track back and forth, that's just energy being lost.
Exactly.
In that process. I mean, you're the physics guy. You'll know this better. If I'm off base, tell me I'm wrong.
No,
study biology.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, if it's shaking around, it's not going to help for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's why Mind Blower was like one of the worst rides I rode in Florida recently.
So sad.
Which people don't like me saying that, but it wasn't good. It really wasn't. So yeah, wooden coasters, basically maintain them, build them right, or get a really subpar product.
There you go. Andrew Jammymation says, "Have you been to the UK?"
Yes, I have.
When did you come? May 2020. How was that?
I visited on March 12th, 2020,
Yeah.
and I flew from Copenhagen, and I was there for 3 hours, and I flew to New York.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was at Heathrow for 3 hours. That's my entire
did
UK
it.
experience.
He did it. How was that? What would you rate that out of 10?
How was British culture? 3 hours of British culture.
Yeah.
It was cheaper than Denmark. I'll give you guys
Of course
that.
it was cheaper than Denmark.
Like,
What you expect?
I needed something to eat, and I got a pastry and like a breakfast sandwich at someplace in the airport. And it cost me like $5.
Probably expensive for UK. Obviously airports
Well,
are
that's
expensive.
Compared to Denmark, where it was like, if I want to get a sandwich, it's running
Yeah.
me $8.
That's still that is probably just airport markup.
Yeah,
more than
definitely.
Just like the currency.
Yeah. So, but in terms answer your question seriously, I have not. I was supposed to, but I have not.
You will one day.
So
One day.
that's why when UK discussion comes up, I don't say anything because I don't have anything to say.
So sad.
Yeah.
But I've been to Florida, which is basically the UK, to my knowledge.
Sure.
There are a lot of Brits in Florida.
I think every single Brit who goes to America, as like a family holiday, seems to go to Florida.
Like, even you did that, Harry.
Yeah, of course I did, but not as
Now
much
we
as
have
other people.
one credit in common. That's it.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we-
You've been on
Don't we have-
Kraken. You've been on
Yeah.
Everest.
I was 2.
I've been on Everest. Yeah.
So, 2.
What other roller coasters did you? You didn't go on any other roller coasters at Disney, did you?
It was only Everest.
You didn't go on Shamu Express or whatever it's called now. Is it even a thing now at SeaWorld?
It's still there. I didn't ride it.
See, that
I
could have
wasn't
been
being a,
that could have been our third, but you
I
ruined it.
wasn't being a kiddie credit whore. In
You ruined it,
Florida.
man. I was literally a kid, so I was allowed to ride it. Oh, Journey to Atlantis.
Oh. I did ride
Yeah,
that, so, okay.
3. How epic.
Now, Harry, when are you visiting Dorney Park?
Never.
You're the only one in this call who's not been there.
Good. I'm glad. No, I mean, I feel like there's more pressing parks to go to than Dorney. No offense, Andrew.
I don't really know why.
I mean, you
went
could- You could do Dorney in 2 hours and get out. You
Yeah,
get the
but
Knobles.
do I want to?
Yeah.
Is it worth the effort?
Do you want to ride Hydra?
I'm not really that bothered.
Do you want to ride another Hyper?
Not. I want to ride a good hyper.
Ooh.
To be fair, it is kind of the worst Hyper in the area. I will give it that.
I'm sure it's good park,
Um,
right? But for me, I'd rather spend like somewhere else. In my mind, would I rather go to Dorney Park or experience some American culture, like visiting a city? And I'd probably rather visit a city.
Yeah, Dorney's quite nice. You know.
I mean, I left Dorney, so I don't know. I have nothing to show for anymore.
The rides are nicely kept. They look nice off ride. It's got some charm to it. It's not just like generic flat concrete like Carowinds is.
The Hydra Plaza is pretty bad.
It's still Dorney Park has more character than Carowinds does.
I love the Americans have culture jokes in the chat. Thank you. You're breaking Andrew. Yep.
How are you breaking me?
I don't know, man. I just like. I like theme parks.
Yeah,
as
if you
much as
say
the
you
next
want to
guy.
go to Great Adventure,
Yeah, I want to go
Great
to Great
Adventure has
of course.
more appealing rides.
Exactly.
to-
Like
Yeah.
even
more
though
interesting
perhaps it's a worse park in terms of how nice of a park it is. I don't know. You tell me, but I don't know. It's just like there's nothing that interests me at Dorney Park. I'm sure the rides are good, but I have no interest whatsoever in that park or riding any of the rides there. So there's no point me, traveling several thousands of miles and spending lots of money to spend any time at Dorney Park when I could spend it somewhere else.
got it.
Like buying Andrew a pizza. I don't know. That'd be more that'd be more worthwhile to me than going to Dorney Park.
I'm not worth a pizza. Don't worry.
I'm sure that's not true.
But yeah, Harry, when are you going to come to America in general? I know we've had this discussion like every other month.
So
That's what everyone wants to know.
it would have been sooner, but there's some little thing happened called COVID, and that kind of ruined the plans. So,
Yeah.
and my first port of call in America, which is probably upsetting for most people, is definitely Florida. So
Oh yeah. No, Florida's worth it. Trust me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
it's
Just
just
don't go to fun spots.
just don't go. Is what he said.
Don't go to fun spots. No, the fun spots.
Again, I'd only be interested in riding like the main coasters, the main two Woodies. Everything else I don't really care about.
I mean, unless you want to do the Giga Sky Coaster, that's your call.
To be honest, I might even just not even go to Fun Spot.
Don't.
What's the point? I'm sure I'll go back to Florida at some point. I'd rather spend it at a good park.
Just spend another day at SeaWorld or something. I don't
Well,
know.
spend another day at SeaWorld. What's the point?
Because Mako is hot.
Yeah, but surely you just get your rides on Mako and then job's done.
Okay.
It's the problem with Florida.
No. Okay.
I'd
So
rather
much to do.
gawk over, Harry Potter or some stuff like that.
All right. Someone's trying to tell me fun spots are fine. There are the two worst parks I've ever been to. Period.
A cred's a
Like-
cred. It is.
The way the parks are operated, the way they just don't do things, it's not worth. I personally never give them money again.
Fair dues.
Like, I mean, I know maybe this is a little hypocritical judging them on COVID guidelines, but their employees don't even wear masks. Like, if you try to talk to them, they take it off and there's like cough in your face. I'm like, where is your guidelines here? But yet you still distance the trains. So your care about COVID is inconsistent, and it makes my day a lot worse because of it. I don't know. I was pissed off at Fun Spot both times I went, and I should probably stop before I go harder on them.
Yeah. The thing I found is, as I've gotten both older and having been to more theme parks, I care less about riding individual coasters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I no longer want to ride a coaster for the sake of it. If I'm going to ride a coaster, I'm going to ride it because I'm interested by it. And I'm going to go to a theme park because I want to be at that theme park, not because I want to ride this really obscure little roller coaster that, you know, has no value existing whatsoever. So that's definitely going to dictate how I spend my time in Florida, which obviously means I'm going to end up spending the majority of my time at Disney and or Universal parks,
Mm-hmm.
and then making the, you know, the day trips out to the others. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So dark rides in Florida. What do you want to ride dark ride wise?
All of them. Honestly, Spider-Man. I got no idea what it's like. I've never seen it. I've never looked at. My knowledge of Florida in terms of the actual rides at these parks is very poor, and for good reason.
Yeah, keep it that way.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Obviously, there's all the stuff in Pandora. Well, not all the stuff. Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
And then both of the 2 Star Wars rides I'd like to get on. What else has Disney got that's interesting?
Dinosaur.
I've been on it. I'm pretty sure.
Tower of Terror.
Yes, of course. I've been on it, but of course, yeah.
Rise of Resistance.
I said that.
All the Star
Oh,
Wars
you did?
rides,
I'm
just,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All the Star Wars rides for sure.
Ratatouille opens.
I couldn't care less.
Isn't it supposed to be good? Apparently, I don't know.
It's fine. I've been on it. It's fine, but like.
Ratatouille did. Oh, because you've been on Paris. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know like what dark rides do Universal have outside of Superman.
I'm sorry.
Gringotts, whatever. Oh, I said what dark rides do Universal have outside of Superman?
Superman.
Spider-Man is what I meant.
Okay. They have Journey to Forbidden Journey.
Yeah,
That's the
Forbidden
one.
Journey. Yeah, Gringotts. Kind of like dark
They
rides.
have
close to
Cat in
me.
the Hat, but I didn't do it.
And
I only rode Spider-Man and Forbidden Journey dark ride wise at Universal. So, Jimmy Fallon.
Mummy, I'll take that.
That's
Skull
a
Island.
coaster, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's like a dark ride coaster. That still counts. Transformers, yeah, sure. Men in Black. Yep. See, I just literally have no idea about any of these parks. And obviously, I'll have to. When I eventually do go, I will read up about it. But not. I'll read up to know what attractions there are, what's worth riding, but not read up about what they are. I'm very keen to. Somehow I've managed to, exist and not know that much about Florida. And I kind of hope to keep it that way until I get there.
Yeah, and I'd say that's the best because that's what I did in terms of the dark rides. Like I knew nothing going to Flight of Passage. Well, Flight of Passage I knew a little bit because
I know a little bit as
people
well.
love it.
Exactly.
But Spider-Man I knew nothing about.
Exactly same.
And I left my trip in Florida with those 2 rides, possibly the 2 favorite rides I've been on. Period.
It's awesome.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to compare them to coasters, obviously,
Yeah.
but I was left speechless by both Spider-Man and Flight of Passage, personally.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wind down the stream, so we'll take a few final quick-fire questions.
Yeah.
Jamie says, any tips to go to Blackpool? Joel, any tips?
Oh God. In getting there or actually
I imagine
tackling the park?
handling the park.
If you can go on a weekday,
Yeah.
and other than that, like if you go on a weekday, you'll probably be able to get on everything. I don't, Pleasure Beach Experience did a good video on how to tackle Pleasure Beach
They did,
on a busy
actually.
day and get on everything. So go watch that. They know more about the park than I do.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you can get the train there pretty easily. Either to Blackpool North and then get the tram up to the Pleasure Beach, or you can get a train to the Pleasure Beach. Yeah.
Matt says Leesburg's new Doubt Ride looks like a sleeper hit. It does look fun. I think it's definitely something that Leesburg will really benefit from. Having that family dart ride really will add to the lineup of attractions there. And yeah, if it's anything like Wallace and Gromit, then it'd be good.
Everything in that kids area is great. So
It is.
I assume this will just be good as well.
Yeah. Coaster Connection, go get yourself an icon, and then it's one of the best UK's best coasters. So you're missing out, bud. Mondo says, any European countries you'd like to visit in the near future? Andrew first. Which top 3 European countries you want to go to?
UK.
Yeah.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Germany.
Sure. Joel.
I don't really know. There's a lot of, I guess, the Netherlands and Sweden again and Finland, I think. Just off the top of my head.
Nice, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like Finland. Finland. I'm going to steal that one. Finland, Netherlands.
Spain for you, I guess.
I'm trying to think more. Yeah, actually, Spain. You're right. Exactly. Yeah, Barcelona. So there you go. Let's answer a few more quick-fire ones, if there are any.
What part do you most recommend in Europe?
In terms of what?
I don't know. Like, Leesburg is basically the only European park I've been to recently, so it's all I can recommend. But it's a good park and it's really easy to get to, so that's my recommendation.
Depends what you want from a European park. If you want coasters or if you want all-round, they're two very different things. One of the best all-round it would definitely be Europa, but if you want coasters, Europa Park is not the place to go.
Probably Energylandia or Portaventura for coasters.
Portaventura, I'd say, yeah. Yeah, Fantasyland is good, but I wouldn't recommend going for coasters. Well, kind of, but you probably get more value going somewhere else.
Quickfire SW9 predictions.
I hate this. I find that Towers is now increasingly impossible to figure out what they're going to do because they have such a good lineup of roller coasters. What do they need?
A good launch coaster. Well, a better launch coaster than Rita.
But they don't need that, do they? That would be a nice to have. Do they need it?
But I mean, at this point, that's what you've got to say. Like,
I guess.
What would, because they've got everything.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
this point, so it's more like what would fit most. Like,
Yeah, multi-launch coaster. Hell yeah, I'd love that. That's what I'd want.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
What else could they do?
I mean, there's a
Not
lot they
much.
could do, but I think that would fit best. Any other good questions? Someone really wants to know when you're going to ride Fly.
Never. No, I will.
There you go.
When the pandemic ends. There you go. We'll go back to Fantasyland at some point, for sure. Okay.
Final Brigman's best part. Mind Eraser during like
Odyssey.
Odyssey, really? Surely there's got to be some really good break runs out there that you just end on. It's like, hell yeah.
But it's the best part of the ride.
Alpengeist has a great mid-course. This is the jolt into it.
Jesus. I thought you like that.
I don't know. I don't think he meant that way. But I assume he just meant, what's a ride that you're glad it's over?
I'd say
Swarm.
Spinball has a good break run because you break your neck once it stops because, they stop just within half a second or something stupid.
I always brace on
Yeah.
the Spinball
Yeah.
at the end now.
Alright.
Yeah.
Ending the stream with the best break runs. Yes. Operateur, I'm sorry that you've arrived at the worst time because we're now ending the stream. Thank you all
It's
for
all over.
watching. Thank you to Andrew and Joel for, talking about whatever we spoke about for the last 2 hours. I don't know. I can't remember. Rides.
That was a lot. Dive
Yes.
coaster, park records, and that's it.
All of that stuff.
There you go. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I have no idea whether we'll do any more streams in the near future. But if we do,
Sure we
we'll let you
will.
know. Where's my outro? There it is. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.